Are laser welders just an accident waiting to happen? Or are they a new tool with a new set of hazards that can be managed? Hey, welcome to the shop. So over the years, the way we join metal together has evolved with technology. If you go back only 100 years ago, you'd see a few things in metal joining. You would see people flinging hot rivets through the air still to join beams together on buildings. You would also see early implementations of arc welding, and with that it brought electricity, which was pretty new to a lot of people, along with explosive gases, UV radiation, fumes, all these things that nobody had seen before. And over the years, we've had to learn how to work safely with those processes. Now, laser welding brings an especially unique challenge because all of the hazard isn't right here at the point of use. It can actually travel some distance. Over 300 feet away, you can still do damage to the eyes with a laser welder, so it's really not something that you want to mess around with. And we're going to talk today about the specific hazards related to handheld laser welding and how to manage them. Now, a handheld laser welder is considered a class 4 fiber laser, which is the highest hazard category because you use it in the same environment that we're in. It's not in an enclosed cabinet or something like that. And in industry, there are certain standards to follow, and you'd have someone appointed as a laser safety officer to ensure that you're compliant with those. But I don't want to get caught up in the big vocabulary of standards. I want to talk about practical hazards and what we can do about them to prevent any kind of an accident. So the biggest hazard that you have is an unintended beam path. And by that, I mean the beam from the laser goes somewhere you don't want it to and hits something you don't want it to, or worst case, it hits a person, and the worst of that is it hits it in the eyes. So 20 feet or a little bit more can do damage to the skin. Over 300 feet can still do damage to the eyes. So you need to be really careful with this. And because of that, there are certain layers of control that you put in place. It's not just a matter of wearing PPE. In fact, this isn't going to protect you from a direct hit straight out of the gun. Now, the first layer is the area that you work in. And the technical term for that is a laser control area in industry. But basically, you need to control the space where the laser is being used. Now, for me, I'm working by myself in my own small shop, and I consider that my laser control area, which works okay, since it's my own personal use. But you need to make sure that you have a designated space, you control access, you have signage, maybe even a light outside if you're in industry. They also sell booths that you can work in to make sure that only those who need to be in the area are in the area, and everyone who is there understands the hazards and is wearing the right PPE. Now, the next layer of protection comes from the machine itself to prevent the beam from shooting when you don't want it to. And there are certain protections that all machines are required to have in this class of laser, but there are also some additional protections that the xTool MetalFab we're using today has in place. So some that you'll find on every machine are an emergency stop to be able to stop that beam right away if something were to go wrong. You also have a key, and sometimes this is similar to a door key. In this case, it's a USB key, but that can be removed to control usage so that somebody who isn't qualified to use the equipment or isn't trained on the safety practices won't just come and use it. There's also a trigger enable button on the user interface that you have to press to make it even possible for the gun to fire, but it still won't because you have a contact safety switch, and that's what that small wire that looks like a ground clamp in welding does. It actually checks electrically to make sure that your gun is touching the workpiece before you can fire it. So you can't just fire it off in the air. If you pull that trigger, nothing is going to happen. The xTool MetalFab actually goes a little bit further than other machines that I've seen in terms of control. They have a laser safety training that you have to watch and then get a special code from the website to enter into the machine to enable it the first time you use it. So they make sure everyone has been through some training. They also have a double switch, and some other machines have these, but not all, where you have to press 2 buttons for it to fire. And so that makes it a lot harder to accidentally press the trigger. You have to be really intentional to hit both of those buttons. Now the next and arguably the most important layer of protection is really just handling of the gun. It seems like common sense, right? Don't point it at yourself or anybody else. I'm going to tell you it's a little bit harder than you'd think when you get to an actual fabrication project. See, if I want to weld a T-joint here, I'd be tempted to hold the T-joint down while I'm pointing the gun at it. And that gun can actually shoot through the material. And so you've got to consider your beam path not just up to a piece of metal, but through the back side of it. And so that wouldn't be a good way to hold it when you're tacking things together or welding them. You might be tempted to point it a little bit more towards yourself or to put your head over the top of the welding gun. And all of those things can be a path for either the beam directly or a reflection of the beam. We're going to talk a little bit about reflections in a second. Now, when you're cutting, it's especially important because unlike a plasma cutter that does have some hot sparks and things falling down from your cut, this still has the beam continuing right through the cutting of your metal. And so it's super important not to get in the way of that. Now let's talk a little bit about reflections, right? This beam can bounce off of material and reflect into something else. So you have to consider not only the direct path out of here, but if it were to bounce off the material or even bounce twice off a back wall, where is that going to go? Now there are a couple different types of reflections that you need to be aware of. One is called a specular reflection, and that's basically a mirror-like reflection where the beam is continuing on. And when that happens, you have basically the full hazard as though it had shot out of the gun right there. And that's most common on reflective materials like aluminum or polished materials. Reflections are much more common if the laser power is too low to weld the material. And it sounds counterintuitive, right? The hazard is higher if the power is lower. Well, yeah, because of the way that the laser interacts with the metal. See, when a laser first hits the material, its tendency is to reflect off, but some will be absorbed. That heats the material, and the more the material heats up, the more laser energy it will absorb. And that is a bit of a runaway cycle until you create a little pocket or hole in it where that light bounces around and it really absorbs a lot of the material. And so if there's an incorrect setting or an issue with the optics, you're more likely to have a reflection like that. So you need to exercise extra caution on those reflective materials and also when you're first trying out a new set of parameters. The other major type of reflection is called a diffuse reflection. And this is where the laser energy is scattered, and that's much less harmful because that energy is spread out, but it still can do damage to your skin and eyes, and that's where your personal protective equipment really comes into place, is protecting you from those diffuse reflections. So personal protective equipment, or PPE, is your final layer of protection. It's the last thing between you and what you're working on. And the most important is to protect your eyes. Now, the xTool comes with some glasses here, but they're not just regular dark glasses. Let me show you. So these right here are special laser glasses, but if you look at the lenses compared to these glasses, they actually look pretty similar. These right here are a regular shade 5 glass that I use for oxyacetylene work. And these will not protect you from the beam of the laser at all, from that diffuse reflection. And so you need to have some specifically made for a laser. And when you look at any laser safety lens, you're gonna have a couple numbers on there, and it's really important to make sure they match up to your specific machine. One is going to be the wavelength of light that it protects from, which is basically the color of light. In this case, 1080 nanometers is the wavelength that needs to be in that range. And the other number you're going to have is the optical density, and that typically is OD, and that is how dark it is or to what level it protects against that wavelength of light. And in this case, it's 7. So for the MetalFab, you need to be above 6. In some cases, you'd need to be above 8. It depends on your specific machine, the power output, things like that. But you want to make sure that those lenses match up with your laser welder. Now these in particular won't protect against the same light that you would with a regular welding helmet, right? So my regular welding hood right here, this isn't going to do anything for you if you're welding with a laser, but this one right here that is also from xTool will. So it has both the laser lens inside and an auto darkening lens here at the front that's the same as you'd have with regular arc welding. And this provides a couple of benefits. Obviously, it covers your whole face, and that's good protection, but also that darkening lens darkens the light a little bit. So the bright light that you see when you're welding isn't the laser itself. It's actually some, light that's emitted from the process, the plasma that's created, and those types of things. And this will darken that and give you a little bit better view of the puddle. So I really like it, but you again have to make sure that whatever you're using has those two numbers on there, the right wavelength of light and the right optical density to be able to remain safe with your welder. So be sure to check that. As far as clothing goes, I still wear gloves and sleeves, same as I would with TIG welding. Not that those are going to protect you from a direct hit from the laser, but they will provide some protection from those diffuse reflections. And the last piece of PPE that's really important is to wear a respirator. And this is xTool's disposable respirators. These are really nice. You can also use a respirator with replaceable filters. Just make sure that you have some protection from the fumes that come off of this, because you still do create some fume when you're laser welding. So those are the main considerations specific to laser welding, and it just takes a little bit more mindfulness when you're actually welding. You're lining things up to make sure you, and if you have a helper, that you're both out of the possible way of the beam path. You always want to assume that that beam could come out at any time and that it could reflect, and make sure that that's not going to hit anybody or anything that's going to cause an issue. There are a few other safety considerations to be aware of that are similar to all welding processes. You're going to be dealing with hot material that could burn you when you pick it up, so you need to be careful of that. Also, you're going to need to use compressed gas cylinders like my argon cylinders here, and in order to do that safely, it's important that they are chained up so they can't tip over and break the valve off the top. And if you're transporting them, make sure a safety cap is on the top. You are still dealing with hot work here, so you need to be aware of any flammable materials around. The last thing, I'll just mention the welding fumes again, that it's important to have enough ventilation so that those don't build up and you don't want to breathe that stuff in. I'll link a few resources down in the description that you can use to study a little bit more about handheld laser welding safety. As a disclaimer, this is not a comprehensive safety video, but hopefully it's giving you some insight into some of the hazards and how to manage them. I really think that it is a very promising technology and those hazards can be managed. Now, a huge thanks to xTool for sponsoring this video, as well as some upcoming educational videos about laser welding in general. And if you are looking for a laser welding machine, I think that the xTool MetalFab is the best I've used at this power level and price point by far. So there's a link in the description with a discount code there to save you a little bit if you want to check one out. Thanks a ton for tuning in. If you enjoyed this or learned something, let me know by hitting that thumbs up below. We'll see you next time.